will fly.
How's it going, guys? Mills by the Mile here. Sorry I haven't made an update. I really started this project yesterday, and as I was doing it, I was like, man, I really wish I had my GoPro so I could have, like, you know, kind of filmed some of the progress. But I know y'all haven't even seen the gun that I got yet. I know in one of the earlier videos I mentioned I was looking at 3 guns. I was looking at an AR-15, I was looking at an FN Scar 17S, and I was looking at an AK-47. Well, as you can probably tell, got the AK-47. So I did have the gun completely disassembled. I put it back together so I didn't lose any parts, because, I mean, it's so easy to lose parts in this apartment. So basically what I'm doing now is I don't really want it, like I said in my earlier video, that I didn't want to do much to the gun that I got. Whenever I was looking at the AK, whenever I made that video, I was pretty much certain I wanted the AK at that point. Because you can get them fairly cheap, like at least a decent quality for fairly cheap. I mean, you can buy AKs for probably $400 here in Alabama. But I didn't want to spend $400 like the cheapest amount I could. I wanted to, you know, pay a little bit more, get something a little bit better. So basically all I'm doing right now to this gun is I am staining the wood furniture on it. I couldn't really find a good stain that I wanted. I wanted it to be more of like a reddish color. This does have a little bit of a red tint. I don't even know if you can see it, because I have like a bunch of lighting on it, but it's not perfect. But I think so far I have put 3 coats on it. I put 3 coats on the stock, and on the grips right here I put 2 coats each. And instead of doing a 3rd coat like I did the stock, I went ahead and I just did the inside right here where they touch whenever you put it together, just so that wouldn't be like the color of the stock. The color of the stock, it's a maple wood stock, but the color of the stock was just way too light. I understand it's an AK, but it was just way too light for me. Other things I probably want to do with this AK is maybe put a sight on it. People say the you know, iron sights aren't really that good, but I honestly like them. I don't know why they say they're not good. I like them. Maybe not for like long range shooting, but I mean, it is an AK. It's not really meant for long range. I mean, maybe 500-600 yards at the furthest, and I doubt I'll be shooting that. So, but I would probably like to get some sort of vortex sight to put on it. The AK that I got is a Red Army Standard 47. They now have a new version out called the Century Arms C39 V2. That's actually what I thought I was getting at first, but apparently it wasn't. It was the one they made before that. It's kind of like the cheaper version. And by cheaper version, I mean everything's the same on it. But this is a stamped receiver, meaning it's, you know, stamped. You see the rivets in here. And the milled receiver is just, they take a chunk of steel and they just kind of mill it out. So like they carve it out for the AK. So that's one of the differences. And the second difference is the furniture that actually comes on the RAS-47 that I have is a maple wood, whereas the one on the C39 V2, I don't even know what it is. I think it's walnut. Yeah, I think it's walnut wood. But what I'm using for this is the stain. I am using a Old Masters deep red gel stain, the rich mahogany color. I've looked into a lot of the stains and everything, and I really did not want to go with a water stain, so I was looking at an oil-based stain. And I've used oil-based stains a lot, helping my uncle out and everything, and that's about all I knew was the oil-based stain. Well, whenever I went looking for it, they were like, have you tried gel stains? And I'm like, no, what's the difference? Basically, the difference between a gel stain, from my understanding, is number one, it's a lot thicker. So the viscosity of the liquids, the actual oil stain is really kind of watery. The gel stain's like a thick, like a pudding kind of. It reminds me a lot of chocolate pudding. But anyways, yes. With the actual saturation into the wood, the oil-based stain actually penetrates really deep, especially if you use a pre-stain conditioner. I did not condition this wood before I started staining it, and I really regret that because I really wanted to, but whenever I started this project, I totally forgot about it. But it seems everything's turning out pretty nicely. The stain's a little more brown than I wanted it to be, but like right in these parts that are dry, it's got a nice red color to it, and I like that. But this that I freshly stained is more of a brown color. So I'm hoping that'll kind of redden up as it dries. I did put a thick coat for the first coat. I put a really thick coat and smoothed it out and everything. And then the second coat, I put kind of a thinner coat on it. And then this third coat, on the stock, I put a really thick coat, mostly because like the stock was a lot lighter than the other furniture. So I kind of wanted to catch it up, put a real thick coat on. I don't really have any problems with drying time because I have plenty of time in the world. Now, after this, I've looked at, because I really wanted to have like a glass finish to it. And I really didn't know what I could do because I've looked at a 2-part epoxy resin. That's what you mainly see on like countertops and really nice like coffee tables and furniture and all that. And it gives it that really thick coat, and it looks like it's pretty much got a glass layer on top of it. I really wanted to do that, but the problem that I have with that is it's not a flat surface. These have like a lot of rounded areas in it, and a lot of people told me that it's gonna run if I ever tried to do an epoxy resin on it. You can't get it perfect. It's gonna run. It's gonna have drip marks in it. So about probably the next best thing I could find was polyurethane. And I've heard a lot of bad things about polyurethane, and I mean, it is what it is. I had the Richwood polyurethane clear varnish gloss, the interior and exterior version, because I felt if it was for exterior, it would be good for the elements, like rain, any moisture and all that. So I just went ahead and got the interior exterior because they did not have just an exterior. So I figured if I put like an exterior kind of coat on it, maybe that would kind of protect it from the elements, which I don't plan to have this gun out in the rain. I know it's an AK, and I know a lot of people are like, AKs are built to last and all this, but whenever I looked them up on YouTube before I started buying them, just to kind of get a rough perspective, it's like every one I saw, somebody was running it over with a truck and then complaining about how bad it was. Well, it's an AK variant. It's not a real true Russian Kalashnikov. I mean, plus I take care of my weapons. I have no, you know, I don't want to run this over with my truck or drag it through mud or anything. I mean, I know it's an AK, but come on, take care of your stuff, guys, for real. Let's see, I got some stir sticks. I have a lintless cloth I use for the stain. I got a really nice brush. That's about the one thing that I could think of with polyurethane. With polyurethane, there is a big problem. I don't know if it's with the gloss as much as the other ones, but I have heard like the matte finish and the semi-gloss is absolutely horrible in the fact that every time you try to apply it, you're gonna have air bubbles in it. So one thing that I know not to do is shake it before I use it. You never want to shake polyurethane because it is a plastic coating pretty much, or almost like plastic. So if you shake it, it's gonna have air bubbles in the actual liquid. You go to put it on, you're gonna have air bubbles in your work. So I really don't want to risk that. So I got a really nice brush. I know you can't keep 100% of the bubbles out of the wood or out of the project you're working on. It's gonna have bubbles regardless, but that's all within like the brush and your technique and all this. And considering this is my first real project, myself, I've helped my uncle do like stairs and all this, but by myself, this is my first real wooden project that I've ever done. So I went out and I bought a Woodster silver tipped. This is especially made for oil based, not resins, but oil based stuff. I was looking into them, and I didn't even know paintbrushes came like that. But there's one for like a water base, there's one for an oil base, there's many different kind of brushes. And I was trying to think of why wouldn't you go with a water base with a polyurethane? And that's mainly because like the bristles on it are like a synthetic kind of, I don't think synthetic is the word, but it's almost like a plastic kind of brush. And a lot of those little bristles come off in your work, which I can fully understand. But I did go with, I'm not gonna take it completely out, so I'm gonna have to put it back in. I did get a nice brush. It wasn't like the best one they had, but I didn't want to buy the cheapest one either. All I can say, guys, if you're really wanting to do a wood project, or you're wanting to do redo the furniture on your wood, it's really not that hard. Trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. Because I don't know, I tend to mess things up a lot. So trust me, if I can do this, you can do this. It's really not that hard. This is what I was saying whenever I really got this gun in. I really wanted to bring my GoPro and film, because I know a lot of people are wanting to do wood projects and they really don't know how to start out. But basically what I did was I took all the furniture off the AR-15, AK-47, and I did have one problem. A lot of people were like, that I've seen, are like getting the furniture off, like the gas tube and the barrel and all that. It's really hard. Mine came off perfectly. It did take me about an hour and a half to get the stock off of the AK, because I removed this back screw right here that you can probably not see, but I removed the back screw, and then I was sitting here with a rubber mallet trying to remove it, and I couldn't get it removed. And I noticed that there was a screw on the inside holding it in. So there's a screw right here, there's a little hole in there, and then I actually have the rest of it sitting down inside this box, but there's another screw that was holding it in. So I took that out and the stock came right out. And from that, I sanded it with 400 grit sandpaper. Sorry, I burped. After that, I sanded it with 400 grit sandpaper just to get kind of the finish off and everything. And the gel stain that I kind of found out is like, I think I was talking about this and then I got off subject, but the oil-based stain actually saturates into the wood pretty fast. The gel-based stain, on the other hand, it's thicker, so it's gonna have more of a longer drying time to it. But the thing about it is you don't have to remove a finish in order to put gel stain on, because it's going to saturate into whatever it's on. So that's a cool thing about gel stain, is that you don't really have to sand for you to get a good ending product. But basically what I did was I sanded everything, I put a thick coat on. I really wish I preconditioned it, but I put a thick coat on and then let that dry for probably 8 or so hours, and then I put a thin coat on and I'll let that dry for 12 hours, and I just put the third coat on, and I'm probably gonna let this one dry for 24 hours, and then depending on what everything looks like, I might go ahead and maybe go get some double aught steel wool or something like that, and sand it down, which I did get. Wait, where is it at? I did get some more sandpaper. I went to Walmart and I got some was it 400, 250, somewhere around in there. It's really fine grit, but I don't think it's as fine grit as 400. But I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna sand over it, and then I'm gonna start putting the polyurethane on it. And I really want a video putting polyurethane on, because I feel this is an experience that I'd really like to share with you guys, not only because I have a YouTube channel and I like uploading stuff, but I also like to help people. Some of y'all that want to see what it's like before you get started, or maybe there's not a video that really talks about everything, because that's one of the problems that I've had looking stuff up, is that I can't find a video that actually talks about everything I want to, or everything that I need to know to start a project. So that's why I really wish I had my camera on me at the time. I'm really going to go step by step and kind of talk everything through. The videos might be a little longer, but hey, as long as I can cover everything, that's all I really want. But I'm really excited to see how this project turns out, and I'm really excited to hear you guys' feedback on it whenever it's done. And I'd like for y'all to join the ride with me as I go about this project. Anyways, guys, that's the video. That's about all it was. Just kind of catch you up on what all I did. I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned. Mills out.